Yo, what's up, family? Hey, today I want to do a very relevant video with you with my brother here, James here. And we're going to title this video here, Death. You know, very simple, death and how families deal with death. Because the reason I'm bringing this subject up is because a lot of us, we never want to quite talk about the inevitable. You know, you may want to do many things in life, rather negative or positive. We hope it's something positive. But those things are not guaranteed. But death is. And when you're talking about death and life insurance, these are just things that you should be doing to prepare. It ain't that you want it to happen. You're just preparing yourself that in the event when it do happen, you are prepared. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So go to my channel, Spinks for Integrity, and share, like, comment, and subscribe, and I appreciate it. So now we're going to get on with it. So what would you like to say about that, Jay?
Well, every time I come here, over the past few years, I moved to Michigan.
We're in Jersey right now.
Yeah, so I live over 700 miles away. But over the past 8 months, I've been here 6 times. So ideally, I try to get here once a month, but
6 times.
I mean,
for
once
what?
a year. 6 times for funerals.
Death, once again.
So when you think about death, you know, a lot of people say friend to the end, right? So when you take the mindset of friend to the end, what do we do at the end? So each time I've come here, I've spent a nominal amount of money trying to get here. But the reason why I support funerals is because the people who I love, my family, and, you know, somewhat friends, I want to give them the emotional support to the family.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And that's a good point, because we all heard that saying before. It's an old axiom, and that is, you know, like an old saying. And that's the saying, they go, why do most people go to funerals? Most people go to funerals because the statement that he just made, where it says, you know, I'm going to the funeral to show my support to the family, right? Now, I agree with him. I agree with him 100%. You show respect to the dead family that's alive. However, I have a severe problem with that. And the problem that I have with that is that those saying, see, we live in such a copycat world. You know, you do and say what you hear others do and say. And what I mean by that, a lot of people say, I'm going to show respect to the family. Okay, good point. But okay, after the funeral is over, this is why I have a problem with. When the funeral is over, you got next week, next month, next year, next decade, which is 10 years. You ain't went to see that family not once. You ain't even called that family. So that's why I say I have a problem with that. We love to live in this copycat world and do and repeat what others do and say, but you're not living the life. These people that pass on, they will love your attention while they're alive, opposed to you going to see them when they're dead. There's nothing you can do for them when they're dead, except for that old saying, I'm going to show the family respect. But did you go see that family a month later, a year later? See, that's why I have a problem with that part.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. Throughout my life, you know, as a young adult into my man years, this right here, you have been one of my best friends.
Appreciate it.
Actually, you're my brother.
Vice versa.
All right?
Yes.
But one thing that we disagree about is when someone dies or funeral, you don't attend funerals.
I don't.
But one of the things that helps me come to grips with that is I've known Junior for multiple years, and my grandfather raised me, and he would always rave on how Junior would come visit and talk even when I wasn't there. But a lot of people ask me,
once he passed away.
yeah, when at the funeral, man, I thought this was your friend. I did not see him at the funeral. But the truth be told is, you know, I did not see many of those people talking to my grandfather when he needed somebody to talk to. So therefore, I don't judge you for that.
I appreciate that.
You know,
because there was plenty of times, like he said, where I would be by his grandfather's house, he wouldn't even be there. Me and his grandfather just kick it on the porch or whatever. Or take a ride somewhere and just spend time, actual time, while he's alive. And I appreciate how you told me quite often how he spoke in great regard of me. But meanwhile, like you said, we had a nice laugh about it. Like you said, if his grandfather was to see most of the people at that funeral, he'd probably be like, I don't even know these people. I ain't spend no time with them. But I wasn't there. It might have bothered him to say, wow, Junior didn't come. But at the same time, I'm sure he's happy to say, nah, I spent a lot of time with that guy when I was alive. There's nothing he can do for me when I'm dead.
Yeah. So I want to give a personal testimony. I lost my mother and also my grandfather, which was a father to me. And I did not have life insurance. My grandfather started life insurance, but things occurred, and I took an emotional approach and did not continue it. However,
they said more reactive,
right, I had
opposed to being prepared.
Right, so we want to be prepared for things like this. That's why you think about planning. During those times, you know, I ended up spending close to $20,000, actually more than $20,000 taking care of both of them.
Yes.
But he's always told me, hey, do you have insurance?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I emotionally, I don't deal with that. You know, I just don't want to deal with that part.
Like most people in the world. Most of us, do you realize the average family out there, if you had this conversation about grandma, auntie, uncle, whoever it is, most people don't want to have that conversation. You'd be like, yo, we need to talk about life insurance and be prepared in case something happened to grandma or something happened to our moms, our dad, whatever. And the average family member is like, look, I don't want to talk about that. You don't need to bring that up. We don't need to be talking about death. Actually, you do. That is one of the most prominent conversations you should be having. Because, as he said earlier, a lot of people, they are subjective to going to the funeral to show respects to the family. And that's the word of the day. Y'all know I love to give y'all a word of the day. So the word of the day is going to be subjective. And if you look it up, it really just means being influenced by another person, personal feelings, tastes, or opinions. So you do stuff because you see other people do it. You know what I'm saying? But you should be having insurance for your loved ones. You should definitely be able to have that conversation. It should not be a tough conversation. It's only tough when you don't have that conversation, and now the inevitable death, that's the only guarantee in life. When it happens, now we reactive, like he said earlier. And now we got to call other family members and friends because we need to try to put money together to bury our loved ones properly. And that's not really being prepared. That's being reactive.
So while we're right there, before we go too far off, I want to take a subjective approach to sharing why I attend funerals. Someone told me that, man, you should have all types of money, but I see that you sacrifice to drive across the country to support funerals. See, when you think about funerals, there's a thought that says, give honor to whom honor is due.
Yes.
So, like, and me, I live my life based on relationships. So I will sacrifice my money, my time. If you were sick, if your wife was sick, even if I didn't have it. So when we talk about funeral, I want to show my ultimate respect to the family that may be dealing with grief. But people, they have funerals because of their faith. If they believe, if they happen to be Christian, you know, they allow the pastor to give a message to help people come to grips with how to deal with this and with the thought or hope that they're in a better place. What's your thought on that?
I agree. I think we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. I do agree with everything you said, so it's not disagreeing. But it's just my personal things on stuff. I am a firm believer in spending time with people while they're alive. It is a thing that you should show respect to the dead. As we all know, even if you go to medieval times, it was a moment where you show that respect. You don't just throw them in the garbage. So I do believe that. But it just, I lean more towards showing that respect when they're alive. And however, yes, I will show respect to the dead too. But while your family alive, you need to put all that time you could into them while they're alive. They appreciate you for that. Have that conversation with them about life insurance. Stop acting like it's too tough to have that conversation.
Yeah, and I have some members in my family that's sick right now, but they're a little more elderly, when I say older, and they don't have money, so I'm kind of dealing with that mindset right now, trying to figure out what would I do in the event something like that happens.
Isn't that why you do those cookouts?
Yeah, you're right. We do that 1 year cookout where we try to get family and friends together to celebrate life,
living,
not the death, you know?
Yeah.
And I like what you also just mentioned. He just mentioned a point that made me think for a second. Do you realize the average family out there, if you did have the courage to have this tough conversation about death and life insurance and being prepared, the average family member would take offense to that because, first of all, they don't want to have a conversation. And then, second of all, you asking them personal questions. How's your health? I need your social security number so I could fill out this paper. They're like, I ain't give you my social security number. What you need that for? You crazy. And it's like, look, I'm not trying to get credit cards in your name and max them out and ball out. I'm trying to be prepared So we are all prepared.
That's true. Cause like I've been on the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, when my grandfather died, I had to borrow money from a very good friend.
See?
But I was fortunate enough to get a windfall amount of money within a month afterwards, so I could pay him back. But how many friends do you have that's gonna lend you $10,000
Without hesitation.
without hesitation?
Yeah.
You find one. Make sure you comment on the video if you have one, because I want to get to know them, because I need that type of support.
That's a good one. So, yo, we ain't gonna keep it too long. In closing, what I would say is what I always say, and I have said it earlier, but I'll say it again. Don't find it too hard to have that conversation. Take a moment and have that conversation. It is a needed conversation. It's probably one of the most important conversations you should have with your family. And just to touch on a little bit, go to another one of my videos. It's called Levity. And because I touched on death in that video too, about how to deal with it. And it's called Levity. Go to Sphinx 4 Integrity and type in Levity. I assure you, you'll love that video. But like I said, in closing, you need to have that conversation with your family. Stop acting like it's a conversation that's too hard to have, because the worst thing to happen is when the inevitable do happen, and then now you're not prepared. And we all know how when you call this family, that family, nobody got money, nobody got time. But if you was prepared, you ain't got to worry about that.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
You know, I talked about honoring folks when going to funerals. If you really want to honor your family, all right, prepare by doing some financial planning, making a will,
Nice.
getting an insurance policy. Because if you want to honor your family,
My wife talking about that.
then
all the
you'll
time.
go ahead and create a legacy that your people will no longer be broke or
Yes.
or in challenges. So thank you for having this talk.
Cool.
You're definitely a friend to the end. All right.
Appreciate
My
it.
brother.
No doubt. No doubt. Peace.